Hello. A very good May 3rd to everyone. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for watching. Today we will be looking at three different projects. One is a follow-up on a crash report that we received at some point in the past, where a process decided to crash because some file descriptors in the system were exhausted. And arguably this problem here would benefit from not being as dramatic as it is. Like, instead of having the process stop, they should probably report just an error and then simply continue until maybe the operator decides to fix something. So that's one of the three projects. Another one is an ongoing discussion. We are currently planning to create an in-browser demonstration of CockroachDB. So you don't see anything here on my screen. That's because I have a lot of filters. But we're using this service called Katacoda, which is a way to host programs from a different source inside a website. And so let me try this again. The idea is that it allows the users to try out CockroachDB in a browser, and it doesn't require them to install anything. And so what we see here is a shell, just a shell, like it would be on the terminal, but with everything installed for the user, pre-installed. And so some people want to try this out with a new feature in the CockroachDemo shell, which is simulating the high latency that exists between multiple regions. And that feature is unique to the demo shell. And today the Katacoda setup doesn't use a demo shell, and the reason for this is that the demo shell does not allow one to connect to the database console. So here, for example, we would be able to access the web browser console by accessing, I think, no, that's not this. I actually don't know how to make this. So there is presumably a way to point the web browser to the web console of CockroachDB, but with a demo shell that is not possible. And so that issue is about how to fix this. And so there is a discussion and there is a possible approach, and we're going to look into it. And then the third project, depending on how much time is allowing, we are going to pick up the project from last time, which is an improvement to telemetry. So there are three different areas of work. The first one might not have a solution. We need to investigate first really what's going on. The second one has a solution, but there is a little bit of design discussion, and so we will have to look into exactly what we need to do. And the third one, the PR already exists. We probably want to check what is failing in CI, fix whatever bugs are remaining, and perhaps also extend the implementation with the example telemetry for the time to first query, like was discussed in one of the linked issues. So that's what we're going to do today. Let me make this font slightly larger so that people can read more easily on stream. All right, so too many open files in system. Let's see where we can put this. Should really have a script to do this in Tmax. Let me see. This status right. Why is it so long? All right. And so set status right. And then let's paste those issue numbers in here. 1, 2, and 3. And now we have the issue numbers for today at the bottom of the screen. All right. Cool. First one, we're going to look at this crash report. This is coming from an older version, 20.2.3. I mean, not so old actually, not too long ago was released. And this one is giving us a stack trace somewhere. And it's telling us that there is a system error, and that was translated to a crash error. So we're going to look at those lines of code here and see how the error handling is going on. So we are looking at server.go at line 1801. Let me start the little key display. Off we go. All right. So we are looking, in fact, here at a source file that is not the same because we have made changes to this file. So let's actually look at the source file for this version that is affected, and then we're going to cross to recognize. All right, start RPC server. That's better. All right, serve the gRPC endpoint, and then here serve. So we have here netutil fatal if unexpected. So what does this tell us? There is a so let's see in the newer file here. So we have the same calls here. All these are fatal if unexpected. And then it says, if there is no error and the error is not simply a close connection, we are aborting with a description of the error. All right, so well, we could continue to do this, but maybe we want to do something more clever. It says too many open files in system. Except. So it tells us sync once. And let's serve, right? Oh, so apparently, okay, so the connection multiplexer is erroring out if it doesn't know how to handle an error. All right. And what does it do here? So there's an error handler. We're going to check what this error handling does. And then it says, is net.error is temporary. All right. So what is the error handler doing? So by default, if not true, false, okay. And then it says here handle error. All right. So by default, the error handler returns true. Oh, this is accept is a net error. I see. So, okay, so what we're observing here in this stack trace is that the accept call, which is in this file here, returns with an error because there are no more file descriptors. And then the handler is, so there is this function is called, and it will return true if it's temporary error and it can continue. So there is no customized error handler. And so without a customized error handler, this call here is ignored, and we go to the next step here. And then we got to this point here, and then there is a check. Is the error happening in net.error? And then if it is, does it announce itself as temporary? And then, so it's very likely that too many open files in system is in fact a net.error, but it is probably not temporary. So that's what we're going to check. Let's go to the Go runtime for this. More information available there. Okay, it doesn't look like a system.error. Unfortunately, it's a syscall.error. Okay, so it is not a net.error, and that means that we fall here in the branch. Okay, well, is that what we want? Is that what we want? The CMAX will say, if I don't know how to handle this error, then I will just stop with that error, and then there's nothing else to do, and then the server is dosed, unfortunately. All right. Okay, so there is not much we can do here. Fortunately, there is not much we can do here. After a too many files open error, the CMAX simply stops accepting new connections. From that point onwards, is not much point in the process continue to run. It will not be able to resuscitate the listener. I'm making spelling mistakes. Onward. All right. So that's what we are doing here. We did an investigation, and we saw that there is not much we can do, and so we close the issue, and that's the end of the story. So that happens sometimes. All right. Well, we can close those files. Cool. All right. Let's go back to work to the next point. So, this issue now. Allow Katacoda and users to use the DB console for demo servers with global agencies. So the idea here is that the demo shell by default has a restriction, which is that it does not enable access to the HTTP ports outside of the localhost interface, of the local interface. And the reason for this is that for usability convenience, there is a decision that was made to not use TLS to protect the HTTP interface on demo shells. The background for this is because of a complication with self-generated certificates. Web browsers don't like self-generated certificates, and so if we enable TLS on the HTTP port, the consequence is that the web browser will point to the demo shell and reply that it is not safe because the certificate is not known, it doesn't have a known certification authority, and this kind of stuff. And so, in order to make the user experience in the default configuration more convenient, the choice was made to do two things. First of all, have the demo shell present a HTTP port without TLS, but then also because we do not want unprotected server processes to listen on every address, like to actually make someone's laptop available over the network to any other participants in that network. We also made a decision that the demo shell would not listen to all the interfaces, only bound to the localhost interface. So that was a choice out of concern for the security of folk running CockroachDB on their personal computer. That's the default choice, but it's also not configurable today. And now we have here an issue which is revisiting the situation, saying, well, in the case of Katacoda, it is a trusted sandbox environment, and we really want the ability to connect the DB console from the network. And there is an additional protection, which is that Katacoda doesn't allow users to access the sandbox directly. They have to go through an intermediate proxy server. And so the deal here is we can create a mode which re-enables TLS, because the Katacoda HTTP proxy doesn't care about self-certain certificates, and will present the DB console using a Katacoda TLS certificate to the web browser, and that has a known CA. So that's what we're going to do, have a flag for CockroachDB to listen on all IPs with TLS. It is the opposite of a flag called with unencrypted localhost that is currently available for servers. It's the exact opposite of it. So I'm going to show you where is that flag is defined. It's unencrypted localhost HTTP. And then there are flags, and then we're going. So that's for regular servers, and then we want something opposite for the demo shell. So where is that configuration being set? I don't remember. Demo cluster. Yeah, so that's here. Disable TLS for HTTP. And I would like to know where this is being used. So let's see. All right. And then where is this one used? Here. And then get user tools config. All right. And then this one. And then this one. All right. So this flag here, we want to not use. Let's try it. So where is that being listening? So we have localhost, this port here, and then probably why do I not see the port number 8080, which I was expecting? Oh, yes, I know, excuse me. I need to create a cockroach binary that has the web server embedded, which was not the case with make build shorts. My apologies. Alright, this build is taking a little longer than I had expected. I wonder what is going on. It used to be faster. I would certainly offer visual cookies to people who find a way to make this faster. It's really odd. It's really odd that it's taking so much time. Ah, here. Making progress. Here we go. Alright, start again. So, we're not seeing more. So it says that it's listening here on the 8080 port, but that doesn't seem to be true. I don't see here 12820S with port 8080. It might be a lie, but let's try nonetheless. Yeah, well, it seems to be true. I don't know what's going on. Why do I not see this here in this list? Netstat is made to do this. Oh, it is there. So I see the connection is established, but I don't see the listener address below here. Ah, -A. -A is what I needed. And oh, I still don't see it here. Who knows? Who knows what's going on? But at least I have now made progress. And that means I can copy paste this like this. Alright, so there is already a limitation here. Currently investigating this. Note that if we change the behavior here, the user will still not have optimal UX when looking at the output of node demo ls to list the server addresses. The listed address for the web UI will be relative a private IP address, not the SQL HTTPS proxy address. If my understanding networking is correct, we want to smoothen out the UX in addition to the strict networking change requested here. We'll need to teach the demo shell about the difference between listen and advertised addresses. Please confirm if my understanding is correct. Let's go with this. Cool. So this one can go. Oh, this is what I wanted here. Alright, so this is our demo cluster, and it seems to work now with this address, but I actually don't really understand where the 127 address comes from. So that seems to be here. So this is generating certificates. All right. But where are these flags decided? Where does the demo shell know that it is really looking at all addresses? Oh, I fear that I know what is going on. I fear that I know what is going on. All right. And the reason, so what's going on here is that we never change the listening address. And this is code. So all the demo code is really based on what we call the test cluster and test servers. And test servers are made for unit tests, and therefore they are not meant to be serving requests outside of localhost. So that's what it is. Of course, we can probably change this. And that would be this one, probably. Yeah, so this one is the one we can change. All right. Let's try this. So this is just a test to verify my understanding is correct, that we can force this tool to start listening on all the addresses just by changing the listen address. So let's do AN. All right. So now it's listening everywhere, including so it's still there. All right. All right. So that's what we can do. So what we can do is to connect the SQL address, and this is the HTTP address command line arguments to the demo shell. Okay. But then we want the TLS configuration to be properly set. So where is this? So it's here, generate certs. It's here. Call. And so here there's a little bit of a complexity, which is that the server certificate for the HTTP server is a different function here. So let's see what this function is about. So we have a create UI CA pair and UI pair. Cool. All right. So that's what we want. Oops. All right. Cool. And then we want UI pair And so what do we need here? This one doesn't have specific server names, I think. Oh, it does, in fact. Which is a bit unfortunate. Alright, source tier. Key size is the same. Lifetime is the same. And then here we will need some other port number at some point. Okay, that's fine. Which address we need to have here? It's kind of a tricky one. It will need to be configurable, probably. Usually, I mean, that's what the browser cares about. That the address in the certificate matches the address in the URL that the browser knows about, and we won't know this. So I'm going to keep it like this, just for trying out. And then we'll see what the browser complains with. Okay, so HTTP, and then this one we're going to remove. And then we're going to see what the browser thinks about this change we're making. Cool. So TLS has been enabled. The address here doesn't work at all, but we are going to configure that in a second. Then we have this here. And now let's see what the browser thinks about this. Cool. All right, so bad signature. Bad signature. Why is it a bad signature? I don't even know why it's a bad signature. Peer has an invalid signature. Is it not signed properly? Because I'm using the right address in any case. So maybe generate key, lifetime, hosts. I don't know why it says this. It's kind of odd. Let's try with a web browser that is slightly less picky about this. That is Chromium. Cert authority invalid. Oh, that's better. That's because it is self-signed. And then we can proceed. And it works, maybe? Yes, it does work. All right. So it says not secure because the certificate is invalid, but it is using TLS. And as we can see here, there is something here. So we need to equip our certificate with additional fields. So that means that we're going to teach the demo thing to populate all these fields properly. So it's going to be an exercise in configurability. And all right, so that's start CMDs, and we're going to have a bunch of new flags for the demo shell, and that's going to be here. Node workflow. All right, so SQL port, HTTP ports. I don't get this, by the way. Testing force randomized ports. Okay, so that's for testing. Okay, right. All right. And here we have those port numbers. And what is the SQL base ports? That's from the configuration. All right. Yep. Okay. So user specified 0 explicitly. This is an indication. This is instruction to revert to automatic allocation. Cool. So we have the port number. It's kind of odd because we have listen addresses. So those are kind of different from the regular server port numbers, because as in a server, the port number is really the port number, whereas in demo shell we will have many different nodes possibly, and each of them have port numbers that is derived from the main one. So, all right, let's do this. Sorry, like this. Okay. And these are 3 new flags, which we then need to define and document. I wonder how this default is being decided, actually. I'm very confused. Where is this address being decided? Default address is just nothing here. So why do we get as a default 127.0.0.1? Oh, it might be because of test server. Yeah, maybe. Server. Yes. Isolated test address. It's this one here. All right. Cool. So that is a little bit more complicated. CFG.insecure, and if it's not insecure, then we have other defaults. But this is not the insecure configuration. That is odd. So we're not looking at an insecure configuration, so this is not applying. So let's see, demo cluster. It's so strange. So strange. What's going on here? Okay, I'm going to still write down the documentation here, but I need to change my test from earlier because I don't think that was properly done. Yeah, so all these are restricted to the local host address, and they're not listening to anything else. But I don't see anything in the source code that says to restrict the listening to this local host address. So confusing, so confusing. So we'll see. Network address for demo nodes to listen on. For demo nodes to listen on. For request connection requests from SQL clients. The default is a system specific local address. All right. I actually don't understand how this is working, by the way. Linux. I don't understand how this works. It's really too much magic for me. All right. Right. And that is not this explanation is not correct. The address to use to report the to include in the web UI URL displayed to upon server startup and This is also the address embedded server certificate. When this is enabled. Right. That's not true. Okay. All right. Okay. And then we have a couple of new flags in here. Why does this have... Oh, we don't need this. We don't need this. Cool. And that's the bull. And this will need to be initialized here. Let's go that. Cool. Okay. So I need a comma here, comma here, comma here. So default will be printed. Cool. All right. So now we have a bunch of new flags. Let's verify that we can see them appearing in the command line interface. Okay. Secure HTTP. Then HTTP address, HTTP port. Cool. All right, let's plug all these values in the right places. So we actually need to check the configuration first. So there is a function to verify the configuration is valid. I think somewhere. Where would that be? There is a function that verifies all the configuration. Maybe in demo.go. Yeah, it looks like this. Cool. All right, so let's have this here. Right. And then flags set for command lookup. Changed. All right. So what we're doing here is that we are defaulting the HTTP advertise address if the flag was not configured manually already. Cool. And now we can go to demo cluster here. And then we will have here a couple of flags. Cool. And then all right. And now we are going to configure those addresses. Test server RX. Cool. If not, And then we will have those things here. Okay. And then what do we have the advertise address in this field? No, we don't. We need to add it. Okay. So in fact, here we do not need to set this because that is the default behavior already, I believe. Is that what we want? Yeah, no, that's actually what we want. Otherwise it will not work properly. Cool. Alright, so let's compile this. A second. Cool. Alright, so by default we want the same behavior as previously. And that is no TLS. Verify this works. Yeah, it seems to work. All right, stop this. Then, next behavior is secure HTTP. And now we have HTTPS here. And that is going to fail with an invalid certificate. And if we go forward, it will work. And we will have here invalid certificate for this address. All right. And then let's do this. Oh, I had expected this name to be present here. It's okay. Advanced, proceed, not secure. and then we have our name here. So that's what we wanted. We can customize the address here. So let's document this properly. TLS. Come on. As common name. All right. And then as common name when is HTTP. All right. Now I also want to figure out why we don't see the advertised address we configured when we list the nodes. So what's going on here? So demo ls list demo nodes. That's the one we want. All right. So username, password, server URL. Server URL is the admin URL, and the admin URL is the HTTPS address. So it is there, in fact. And I don't see it here. That is the oddest thing. It's the oddest thing. So let's recompile this for a second. Yeah, so the process is running, we can't link. All right, so I have put a name here. I start the server, and I don't see the name coming back here. What is going on? What is going on? And I don't have this here. No, I don't. So establish, listen. So it is listening on localhost. So that is good. All right, and if I change it to HTTP add, I do get it here. So the advertised address is not being sent through properly. But I do have it here. So the configuration is being, if it's computed from HTTP Edge, if specifies otherwise the listen address. So let's see how this is being used. So the advertised address is the one that is given in the configuration. The port number is the one given. Then translation going on. If the advertised house is empty, then we have two cases. If the listen address was non-empty, so that's not what we have. And then we, okay, so that should work. So that logic here is fine. Let's inform. The terminal of what we're seeing in this parameter. Maybe the command line parameter is not being transferred properly. Yeah. Cool. So we're not seeing it. This line here is not being set, so it is like this HTTP advertiser is not set properly. Alright. Oh, yes, it is not set properly. Alright. Add editation. Split host ports. If it doesn't have a port number, we get here an invalid flag, so that's not great. That is not great. Okay, so this will now hopefully fail. When it starts. I don't mind it failing, but at least it will tell me something. Yes, missing port in address. Okay. All right. The port number does not be included. Ports. And then I have the same here. The address to include from, so it is also the address embedded in the should be included. And 0 after the network address to auto compute the ports. To reuse each. Right. So we can say secure-HTTP 0. Alright, we did compute it automatically. And then if I have 3 nodes, I will have 3 port numbers. Not what I wanted. Cool. So I think we're done. So this still needs testing, but I will delay testing until the stakeholders have informed us of whether the solution is acceptable. Actually, we can even Cool. Let's see if we have a new basal dependencies. Nope, we didn't. All right, let's create a branch. Change was motivated by, say, utility of embedding a demo shell inside a Katacoda instance, where the Katacoda infrastructure is able to provide a secure HTTPS proxy with a public CA for a service running inside the sandbox. Since that proxying requires the service to run on the sandbox external address to be exposed, we wanted the demo shell to make its listeners configurable. Then we say prior to this change, a demo instance would restrict all its network listeners to since this choice was initially made, we discovered the utility. Alright, and now we can explain what's going on. It is now possible to enable TLS for the HTTP port for the web UI console with the new flag secure HTTP. This configuration still uses a self transient CA and ephemera self-signed CA generated by demo itself, and is just insufficient for use by end user web browsers directly. It should still be combined with a HTTP proxy enabled with a public This makes it possible to expose the HTTP interface to a shared network. Come on. say TLS certificate, common names in field, say TLS certificate generated for the HTTP ports. Server is now configurable via a new flag in CockroachDB's. Maybe needed. This is also the address displayed in the web UI URLs printed the user via demo-ls command. This feature is not by default. The network address bound by CockroachDB's simulated is now configurable via the new command line flags and SQL add. We also do want to split the server split the server and the RPC and SQL configuration. I think yes, that is done already. Okay, brilliant. Okay. And we're going to check that in a second. The default for these flags results in the same configuration as in previous versions. That is demo nodes only listen on, right? The value is the same as. All right. So I don't need this anymore. There's going to be a draft. Before I proceed to create a thorough test suite for this change, please confirm the proposed functionality actually helps with the use case. Thanks. Actually, yeah, we need to check something here. All right, so we probably want some kind of interlock here because we don't want the HTTP address to become insecure, to serve an insecure TLS configuration over the network. Cannot be used without HTTP explicitly. So as to signal intent. All right. And that means we need to explain this. Set attention if using secure HTTP is false with non-default HTTP add the resulting configuration exposes an unsecured HTTP port may expose. Service over a shared network resulting in impossible remote access to say local machine. And then we're going to talk about this here. Cool. And so we are going to make this requirement here, config ensures that secure HTTP a non-default that is always with an okay. And then we probably want a hint. And desired ways. Let's try this. Oh, that's not the right build command. Why is it? Because I need a F here. Yep, okay. Okay. Oh. I quit my Emacs by accident. All right, let's try this again. And then add this here. Cool. All right. Wow, this kept us busy for 1.5 hours. My gosh. That is a lot of time spent on just one issue. But it's for the greater good, so what do you know? Maybe that is not an issue. All right, so this is the end for this little project here. And hopefully we will receive feedback on this. And now we can switch to the last issue in the series. Yeah, so because it's nearly the end of the live stream time slots, then I will stretch this. Usually I would have, maybe half an hour ago, I would have suggested to take a break for a couple of minutes. I had taken a break this time just before the live stream started. That's why I was able to go on for so long. I would say let's try to investigate what is failing on this one here. And if it doesn't take too long, we're going to try and fix that and then call it a day. And if it does seem to take a bit longer, then we are going to say, well, here's a plan. And then we're going to take a break. And then we're going to go on with the plan. So let's do this. Let's go and see why CI is failing. So for reminders, this issue is from last week's stream. We are considering using a logging channel for telemetry payloads. And this PR was making a prototype of doing this. And then there's a bunch of failures. So lint, test, and test race failed. So that seems to be a sign that there is test code that doesn't build. That is an easier fix than I thought. So let's go to this branch. Then we're going to replace this. Cool. Then we're going to build it. And then see. Misspell. All right, I can deal with this. Marshalling is the misspelling of marshalling. All right. All right, so that seems to be the one thing that failed for the linter. And then why did the test build fail? Test telemetry. And then there is some kind of deadlock. Applied config as well. Oh, that is okay. Because we have a new channel. Okay, so we need to change the configuration, expected configuration in 2 places. And then we will need to look at this failing telemetry test. And today this is failing with not a number error. All right, so that doesn't seem to be completely trivial. And because this is not completely trivial, that means that we actually should be careful of taking a break. So let's see how much time I have available here. Yeah, so it's enough time to take a break and then fix this issue. So let's take a break. It's 10 past the hour. Let's say a few minutes to quarter past the hour and just a little bit afterwards, and then we can resume. So see you in a bit. And we are back on stream. Sorry that lasted a little bit longer. Had to take a longer break than planned. Everything's fine. Let's get back to this. All right. So what this is telling us is that now we have a new telemetry channel. All right. And so we are going to teach it how to do this. All right, so we can see that has been modified. Okay, cool. So that took care of this one. So diagnostic we're going to look at later. Then we have test telemetry. I don't know why that fails yet, but we're going to check test setup logging first. Cool. Cool. So now we have all the channels here. All right, so that will take care of this. And now we want to see why is this test of telemetry is failing. Server diagnostics. Ah, interesting. Okay, I know what this is, but we're going to look at this later. Oh no, it's the same here. So this is interesting because it fails with an error that apparently the value is not encodable, and that's not completely surprising. If you have a float, it's not a number, nan, then you get an error, and it's a bit sad. First, let's check this one. I'm expecting probably the same failure for the same reason. Yeah, this is panicking with the same thing. Unsupported value, nan. Okay, well, what do we do with this? What do we do with this? We are going to print out the value the row value for details. So what I'm going to see here is a detail of the reported values, and we're going to see in which field we see the spatial value, not a number. So it's taking forever, but that's because we have enabled all the test outputs, and now we see a lot of reports in the log file. So that's exactly what we want. It's taking a sweet long time to fail. I have patience. Maybe we can redirect this output to a file instead of letting Emacs choke on it. Let's do this. Yep, okay, that failed. And it's a large file. And poor Emacs doesn't like when files are too large, but we will just tolerate it. Just one time. What do we? Let's go to the end. And then go back a little bit and see what is the last thing we are seeing here. So this is the last report, apparently. Yep. All right, so the entry started on here. All right. Square differences. And here they are. So apparently having a NaN value in JSON is not supported. Let's see what. Oh, this issue was closed. Oh, I see. Let's see. An infinite of such values. All right. Custom time your floats and implement the JSON.marshaller interface for that type. Yep. also for flows without parts of structs, etc. Fixing code itself. All right, that is appropriate. So we are going to look at this, the ways that the reporter is suggesting us to look at it, which is to implement a method on this numeric stat field. Come on. So it's the flow 64, and we need to explain So it's an example, and this should use it's metallized. So it doesn't have any of the statistics yet. Let's see how this is supposed to work. All right, that's good. Okay. Let's go and try the failing test that is maybe quicker to fail. This one here. Test server, application server diagnostics. So hopefully our little helper method here will help. Marshall. Cool. Okay, the test doesn't crash anymore. That seems about right. Yep. So let's build now this binary, and we're going to observe from the command line an example diagnostic report. And then we're going to see how those stats look like. Oh. I might not be able to directly. This is okay. Cool. All right. So that was the thing we needed to fix those CI failures. And that means that we have completed the little project of making this PR ready to go. So that was it. That was it for today. So in summary, what we did today, we investigated some crash reports to see if there was anything we could do to avoid a crash on something like this, and we were not able to do that. Then we went into this issue, this project here, to make it possible to embed a multi-node demo session in a Katacoda instance. And the work here was to add some flags, to change the server behavior with some TLS configuration. And then we had this PR from last week, which was assumedly ready, but didn't pass CI. And there was a reason, because some floating point number was not a number, a special value for floats. And the JSON format doesn't have support for not a number in floats. And so we had to create our own custom encoding using a string instead. So that's what we did today, and we still don't know whether this PR is going to be accepted, but we will know that a bit later. So that is the achievement for today. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for accompanying this journey today, and we'll see you all in a week on Monday next week. Thank you. Goodbye.